Oh, hello, everybody. How are you all doing today? My name is Bear. I'm barely watercoloring, especially today, I think. Um, hey, I still have my title up on top from something I was doing last time. I didn't change it. Let me change it to what we're doing today. There we go. All covered. Uh, Today is a day of, I guess, random, you can say. Um, I had an idea for what I wanted to do today, and I've been like cultivating it all day. And then I sat here for the last hour thinking over it and realizing I totally don't want to do it, at least not right now. So then I like sat here and I'm like, what? What am I going to do? Right? Hey, to Vegas, welcome in. I hope you're doing well. I am scatterbrained today. I don't know what happened. I think I just hit like a, I don't know what, I don't know what to call it. Not brain fog. I don't know. I legit had an idea for something I wanted to do today. And like I got some paper out and everything. And I've got it covered with a paper towel now just so I don't mess it up until I use it. Um, yeah, I don't know. I may save it for Thursday if I implement it the way I wanted to, which isn't even like a big deal. But um, yeah, so I might not even paint today. I think we're gonna figure it out as we go. And we'll tweak the category and everything if I come to a plan. Um, yeah. So I'm just kind of hanging. Let me think. Just always stuff that I can do. It's just a decision of like what and how, right? If anything, I can talk about like what my plan was. That I might want to do for Thursday. I was thinking because we're heading into Valentine's Day, I might do something related to that. So I was thinking of maybe painting like rose petals or something of that nature, right? Just to try to get some practice in for that. But I don't really feel like doing it right now. So I may just end up playing with that on Thursday. I don't really personally feel that I do flowers too incredibly well. But then I haven't really practiced it a whole lot. So I can't really say I'm not good at something if I haven't done it right. So it's something that I'll play with. I'll have some like I'll find some good examples of what flower petals or rose petals in this case look like. And then we'll play with figuring out how we'll put them on paper and then go from there. But that's not today. Not anymore. Today is random day. Today is whatever scenes we pull from a hat. Whatever we can come up with. So I figured just to start with, maybe what I can do is at least look at some of the stuff that I've done, that I've protected by putting inside little portfolios. Um, Not for any particular reason, primarily just because when I say not particular reason, they're not in portfolios for a particular reason. Some of them are to keep them safe. Some of it is just to have them in something. The rest of it is all sitting over in a collection in a pile over over on a shelf over here. But it's okay. We'll just open it up and take a look at what's here, and then just go from there. In fact, let me move this over. Oh, by the way, here are the bricks that we did from last week. In fact, let me switch to that. Yeah, so here's what we did last week on Thursday. At some point, we may go through and use like a hardliner pen marker and go through and just draw in the bricks around these or near them and formulate them into a wall. But I realized that they start turning into different thicknesses as I went. When I started, they were fairly narrow. And as I went further down, I noticed I got thicker and thicker with them to the point where they're larger on the bottom than they are on the top. Um, which, I mean, it could be normal, but I think it was more of a trying to rush to get done. And I ended up doing them larger to fill up the page. So next time, maybe I'll try to get them more consistent. But still, I'm very happy with the colors. That is very random, very all over the place. Ended up very pretty. especially once a lot of things dried and they combined and mixed. Like some of them were cool looking like that, right? Some are pretty as heck. That one, not so much. Wait, that one came out really cool. Granulated nicely. Yeah. Let's look at some old stuff. This is the biggest little portfolio thing I've got a few more down. We did this some weeks back. Right. Did this. We've got all kinds of stuff that we can look at. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We have a lot. So let's go through and take a look at some stuff. All right. Let me make some room so I don't crush noodles. We can just let today be a show and tell day. I'm going to switch to a full screen view so I'm not zoomed out. And that way we can see this without me having to screw around with fitting everything on screen. Okay. And I turn the music down to nothing or almost nothing. All right. So first step, we've got some sample circles that I did. I think I used, well, hang on. There we go. This, yep, that looks right. I used this little cup, and you can even see some of the residue left over from when I did it, where I just made some different colored mixtures and puddles, and then covered the rim of this with it, and then put it on the paper, and then kind of spread and like drew the color in. So that's what this was. That's it. Let's see what we have else in here. This one is like the only not filled up little portfolio. Oh yeah, some of it is garbage that I wasn't really proud of. I figured I'd save some of the stuff flat so that I could use it in the future should I see a way to recover it, and this is one of them. This one was very neutral and kind of all over the place, just random shades. Oh, these were total disasters. So, some of the background that I had on my stream, when I say backgrounds, like the interface backgrounds for the themes that I was working on, I did the whole like Star Trek LCARS computer interface kind of thing. And I did, do I have it on my main starting screen still? Let me see. Yeah. So I see that orange kind of colored orange and pink background, the little user interface, the little bars and all that you see around the edges of the starting soon screen. I made those from scratch, and I did it by paint. Well, I started doing it by painting it. The idea was that I was going to have a space indigo colored background behind everything, and then I was going to paint these pretty, oranges and pinks and those colors that you would see on a normal Star Trek inspired user interface, right? And I couldn't quite get it right on actual physical paper. So what ended up doing is I forget what it was called now, but I used some sort of app that allowed me to watercolor. I'm forgetting the name of it. I still have it installed. I want to say it's like Revel, or I don't remember. Let me see if I can find the name of it. Okay. I think it might have started with an R. Rebel. There we go. A rebel, rebel, rebel. I think it's rebel. Rebelle 5. And it has some built-in watercolor function. So I thought that was kind of fun, and it saves me a lot of hassle of trying to paint something, then take a picture of or scan it in high enough resolution to then edit and convert and use. as my user interface, and I couldn't quite get all that figured out. So I thought, hey, screw it, let's try it digitally just to see if the process worked. And I actually liked it enough that I kept it for quite a long time. So sorry, I realize you can't see some of this with the reflection. See, I didn't quite like how those came out. They look kind of neat. It just wasn't quite what I was looking for the background of a little Star Trek inspired user interface. So I just kind of left these be. The only page left that has anything in it in this book is this one. And this is a watercolor ink on mineral paper. Sorry, you couldn't really see it very well. We'll turn it like this so you can see it more. Yeah, the inks on mineral paper are a lot of fun to do. The only downside being that they are incredibly difficult to do on stream because they take an eternity to dry, and I can't use my heat gun to dry them off because the paper, it's not plastic, but it works like plastic. And that is very smooth, very glossy. And then water does not dry on it very easily. It doesn't absorb into it like regular watercolor paper does. And so the water sits on it, and therefore the paint sits on it for hours. And it will not dry by a heat gun because the material, the mineral paper, calcium carbonate, it melts under high heat. So any attempts that I make on trying to hurry up, trying to dry these things never works. So my only way that I can do any of these on stream would ever be doing it right at the end of a stream. And then when it's wet, signing off or going to do something else. And then we come back the following day that we come to stream to see how it looked when it dried. It's the only way that I can paint these on stream. You never will ever be able to see me start one and show the result of it dry on the same stream. It takes hours to dry, and it's completely impossible. Worse than that, they have to be kept level, right? It's a smooth surface. It's got very, very liquid, like water liquid on it with the inks that go onto it. And if I tried to pick it up and move it, everything would run around and it would just ruin what it looks like. So once I start one, it has to stay exactly in place where it is. Even if I were to put it on something like a cookie sheet or just something large, flat, solid, stable to pick it up, any tilt will ruin it, potentially. So it's just not safe to even move until it's dry. So these are really hard for me to do on stream. Sometime I'll figure out a way, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I know. I when I am showing it, I tilt it. Yeah, my other half came by and said that you can't see anything because of the reflection. I try to pick it up to show you guys when possible because the reflection of the light above me just makes this impossible to see. But that's it from this book. I've got a lot of open space in here. This is built for uh, uh, 11 by 14. Is that right? No, that's not right. This is bigger than that. 14 by 17? Might be 14 by 17. I can find out. I've forgotten. Oh, nope. That's 11, 14. Yep. It's 12 and then 2 more inches. So it is 11 by 14. I had forgotten. Yeah. So I'd have to use 11 by 14 paper, which I still have some, to be able to even fill up the rest of these. These are just a bunch of blank empty spaces. So we're here for future growth. Um, how am I? I'm here. Today, it's just one of those days. It's just not working out the way I want in my mind. So my original plan went out the window, and I'm just going to do show and tell today, unless something else comes along that we want to do. For now, that's it. So I'm just going through some of my portfolios of stuff that I've saved and showing off what they look like. And then as I go through random stuff, some of it may not be in order, but whatever. Hey, Fatis, how you doing? Yeah, I'm having a day. So I didn't want to not stream. I didn't want to just play a game unless we decide we want to. I didn't really feel like painting anymore today, so I'm just gonna show stuff. Not for any bad reason. I don't know. I lost the desire to want to do it today. I'm just going through stuff that we've done recently and then stuff even older than that. Some things I can't show because they're like hanging up in frames on my walls right now. And I don't feel like taking them off the walls, but everything I've got down, I'll show unless it's like in a stack somewhere else. So this one was fun. We did this some weeks back. It was kind of fun doing some random little nebula looking things. This one actually has some metallics in it, but it's kind of hard to see unless we truly hold it up against the light and get it to reflect in some way. Right there, you can kind of see some of the shimmer on it. So that one's pretty neat. Um, Goddess, I'll remember this one. I'm loving show and tell because I've got you on my big TV screen and I can actually see things. Oh, excellent. And I've got it actually full screen here too, so it should be easier to see. Excellent. You remember this one? My little floating islands? I had the idea to do this from my dad from the past. It doesn't look exactly like how he did things. Um, the way he did stuff was closer to this, where it was like little buildings, and like little domes and little skyscrapers and pillars and things like that on little floating islands. It was closer to that. So I just did a bunch of little random islands of things and like little upside down looking radio antennas to be like part of the devices that held these islands up in the air, right? So yeah, these were kind of fun. Didn't do great on the shadows on the bottom of them, but they work for what they are. I'm still very happy with how these came out. I thought that was really cute, right? And before I get into some of the other books, we can go through some of these loose leaf ones. Do you think one of my your favorite pieces that I've done? Thank you. I really do like the island one. I think I'll revisit that someday, and we'll make some new ones in some fashion. All right, let's go through these. Some are going to be nice, and some are going to be like meh, whatever. But we're just going to go through them all and just look at everything. I think part of painting is some stuff is good and some stuff is bad. We'll see how it goes. This one was kind of neat. No story there. It's just one of my random days, one of my many random days. This leaf came out pretty nice. I'm kind of happy with this one. Let me see if I can separate it from the thing under it. Yeah. Yeah. That leaf came out pretty good. I'll definitely want to do more of these. As I find leaves outside that I like, I tend to take pictures of them. So I do have a bunch of pictures stored that I can use as reference in the future. But yeah, this is one of them. Oh, this one was garbage. This was an attempt to do like a street in the fall kind of scene, but it was like too obviously straight a street. It just didn't work out. It's just an experiment. Oh, this one was nice. I like this one. I realized this whole stack was upside down. I've been turning everything. A little like a sunset mountain scene. It's kind of cute. Yep, that was kind of nice. Is this too bright? Is that why everything's so glary? I have to turn it up. Oh yeah. Nope. Oh no, it could have gotten much brighter than that. Oh, does that help? Or is it worse? I wonder if it auto corrects the lighting in here and make it even worse. Oh, hey, actually bringing it down helped a lot. It was a little too bright. Okay. Ooh. I'm thinking I kind of want to do maybe a little hybrid of that drip stuff I was doing the other day, where you just throw the color on and let it drip. Yeah. And then you end up drawing a little whatever's in them. Doing that little drip thing and letting and kind of incorporating your island building sort of theme into that might be fun. Ooh, I get that. I get that. That'd be kind of cool. I like the idea maybe of like, especially like the whole bottom of the islands instead of being land is watercolor, just like random colors and it's like drifting downward. And then you put more intent maybe into the surface of it. I don't know. It's interesting to consider. Can you still see that clearly? To me, it's really dark, but I think the auto correcting of the camera is making it visible. If it looks too dull or too dim, let me know and I'll turn the light up one or two. One or two clicks. Yeah. There's that one. Happy with that guy. There's another little like a seaside kind of scene I practiced with. Another random one that I don't quite like, but it exists. It's here. From my my still era that I still do today, where I keep doing space scenes and I keep doing the dark around the edge, and it turns it into a big freaking rectangle with stuff in the middle. And I keep forgetting that when I do space scenes, I need to let the color go off the edge, and I don't have to always border with space. It's a bad habit. I'm trying to break myself of. Uh, it was like two pieces. Nope, it's fun. Okay, I I don't know what this was. I think I was trying to do some sort of Aurora type thing and didn't quite pan out, but it's a shape. It's a decision. Oh, this one I'm very happy with. I did this one. Sometimes it's the fast stuff that looks the best. This one, it's self-explanatory what it is. I like how this one came out. Wow, autofocus never goes off. I think it's so dark that my autofocus is like tripping out. You increase the brightness by like one. There we go. Oh, this is a flowers. Come on. Focus. Well, that'll work. Oh, what is up with the light? Tell you, man. Just crank the light up to max and let's see if it auto adjusts after that. You see, when it's far away, it's over bright. So I don't know. Maybe it'll be fine as I just bring things up close. We'll see. Adjust it as we go. This is another like random. I don't even know what direction it goes at this point. There's another random test of trying flowers. Some sort of botanical something. Oh, this was total random. I was trying the same process that I was doing on mineral paper, using this, using regular watercolor paper and regular watercolors instead of inks. It did something. Another little random circles day. Random stuff. Oh, a really bad attempt at a leaf. Another really bad attempt at a leaf. This one's a little better, but not great. God, yes, now it's too bright. Man, it's just gonna be back and forth today, isn't it? Can we go down a little bit and just meet back in the middle where I was when I started this? Yeah, that seems to be the best you can do. Yeah, a leaf. Oh, a little tree. I didn't quite like how this came out. Okay, let's take care of that. Let's see what else we got over here. Uh, yeah, these are like this one you've been seeing off to the side here. I'm telling you, you you can almost not mess up mineral paper unless you hit it with a dryer. So this came out really pretty. The inks on mineral paper, the way they flow is just gorgeous. If I could get that same kind of look on regular watercolor paper, that would be awesome, right? Here's this one. This done at the same time. That one came out really cool as well. This one, I think I did the same day, and I didn't like how either of these two came out, but they're here. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Same day, but these came out better. All right. Oh, here's that little, and this random thing. This one I was happy with. This was a little Star Trek uniform thing I did. It's like little tiny versions of Star Trek uniforms. Ones that are real, ones that are very much not. Just a mixture of things. And weirdly on Instagram, people like the hell out of this. Even though it looks kind of childish, and like not great quality. It was enough that people liked it more than some other stuff I've done. I thought that was wild. Goes to show it's what other people think about things than what I think about them sometimes. All right, let's put these back up. Okay, and this. And before I put it up, there's a couple more underneath. Oh, I remember this. Do you remember this goddess? This is when I was practicing using coffee. I tried using coffee spilled on it and painted with it a little bit. And it still looks like it too. You can see like some of the glossiness is literally from piled on coffee where it dried. It's really interesting. I wonder if it smells like it. Oh my God. Yeah, it totally does. Oh, weird. Oh my God. I wish you could smell this. It smells like instant coffee. I think I used instant coffee. No, I think I used regular. And now, now I don't remember. It might have been instant coffee. But yeah, you can totally smell it. All you can hear is me smelling, but yeah, that totally smells like coffee. That's weird. All right. What else we got? Oh, some trees. Just tree experiments. Some more trees. Some trees and some flowers. Flower practice. Some rose. Some more tree practice. Oh, this one didn't quite come out very well. Like a random flow experiment. All right. Let's put all this back up in this bag here and then see what else we got going on. I do at some point have a game that I'd like to play that I've had on my list for a while now that I want to play, but I've seen other people do it. It's called Indigo Park. It's like a horror mascot horror kind of game. Chapter one of it, because chapter two is supposed to come out sometime this year, with no actual release date mentioned yet. So I think my goal is at some point I want to try that out. I realize you're chatting, but the stuff isn't showing on screen. Oh, you know why? Because this particular scene, I don't have the stream elements on it. This is purely a full screen. So sorry, there won't be any chat on screen for this or sound effects. That's on my normal gaming or my normal painting scene. Oh, but yeah, Indigo Park is such a cute game. There's a song at the end of it that I absolutely love and I play sometimes. Just when I'm listening to music, I'll go find it and play it. I'm hoping they do good on the subsequent chapters too, because it's such a cute story. Oops. All right, let's get that over here. Let's look at a bunch of 9x12 runs. Oh, I see, guys. Oh, this one is empty. Well, that's good. This one's ready to go when I'm ready to use it. Okay, well, that helps. Good to know I've got a lot of open space in this 11x14 and a completely unused 9x12 one. That's good to go. These are heavy. These have something in them. Well, yes, I do remember the coffee and all those trees. I love them and the flowers. It took me a long time to reply because I couldn't find my phone. It was under my big dog. You are totally fine. I remember this one. Yeah. I recreated, or at least partially recreated a painting that I did when I was a kid. Except at the time I think it was watercolor. I honestly don't remember. But it is ships in the desert. So it's a bunch of camels with sails on their back because they're nicknamed the ships of the desert, right? So I just did little camels with sails sticking out of their humps. That's all. But when I was a kid and I made this, I remember I embellished the living shit out of it. Like there was glitter and there was tissue paper, like it was maxed out. It made sense at the time. Oh yeah, there is the link. We printed on paper and then I watercolored inside the lines on that one. I think maybe I traced it. Oh no, I remember I did trace this one. That's right. I printed out the template and then I put it on the light box and traced it and then painted it. It was super cute. Oh, and here are the strawberries that I did that one day. I like how those came out. Yeah, the camels, they're super cute. Oh, I remember these. These came out super cool. I was experimenting with soap bubbles. So using a straw and some Dawn dish detergent and blowing bubbles and putting them on the paper and then putting the watercolor inks down and letting it, putting plastic over it and letting it dry. So I'll come in close so you can see the texture on this. Look at that amazing bubbly scale texture on these dragons. You remember that? That came out so good. Very proud of how that one came out. Right? And similar for this one. Forgot about the dragons. Yeah. I love how these came out. In the grand scheme of things, I think they came out great. It was a lot of fun. I have to revisit and do those again. I know you were, Goddess, you were asking me to put a pixie or a fairy to the side of this dragon. I would have to figure out how to do that because I have no idea how to draw a pixie. So I'll have to use some kind of reference and then trace it and then add one in there. These are just random space type ones. The blue one close up again. Yeah. Okay. And the texture on the scales. All right. Super cool one. I think I'm most proud of the texture of the scales on that one. I just love how it came out. I don't know how close I can get before it loses focus, but yeah, super cool. And no, I changed my mind. It's so perfect. Don't change a thing. Yeah. All right. And this is the green one, the green dragon. Eh. Looks like it's covered in bullet holes. Right. We lifted this one. Let's go next. Oh yeah, we're getting to more watercolor inks on mineral paper here. Be interested in trying some of these again. Oh yeah. This was if I ever go back to trying to do any more Star Trek shuttlecraft or small craft side view or profile view, I can put them here and add them to this sheet. So I've got this to the side ready to go. You see a camel face in the yellow one? Mm, I definitely want to do more of these. I did say at the beginning of the stream that I'd like to do more of them, but they're so impossible to do on stream. Let me grab some coffee. Sorry. Oh, big coffee. Got a nice full cup. Here's the other one that I did with coffee. Speaking of the devil, remember this one too? I took the time to outline all the coffee. Not that one. No, not from the. It wasn't from this yellow one. All right, get in there. Is it this one? Yeah, I don't think there is another yellow one. Is it that one? The things I've seen in that one, I can't say on the stream. Oh, well, that's exciting. You can say whatever you want within reason. As long as it's within Twitch's TOS, we're all good. Oh, wow. This was experimenting with salt. I think some of my first experiments with salt, seeing what it did. I think for some of these, I didn't put them on early enough while it was still really, really wet. So it only spread out so far. And I also had too much salt on there. So each bloom spread into the one next to it and stopped it cold, stopped it from blooming any further. So it's definitely worth revisiting. The one on the other side of the shuttles. Oh, yeah, this one? Yeah. Yeah, this is the coffee one. It could be whatever direction you want it to be. To me, this looks like land, like a big continent or an island with like a big mountain peak or something in the middle of it. The one across from the shuttle is the one I can't say anything about. And the one on the other side of the shuttle is the other one. Oh, I get you. Well, good. Let's over here, you. Oh, yeah. I forget what I was doing with this. I think I was experimenting with doing some blending, starting with one color and then blending some of the one on the bottom into it and vice versa, and then doing different shades of it or values of it. Just more experiments. Why they're in the back. Oh, yeah, more trees. More flower experiment. I like how this one in the middle on the right came out. That one was kind of pretty. A little flower on the bottom. Oh, this was experimenting on black watercolor paper using metallic watercolors. I like that one. What else we got? Oh yeah, this one was like the same thing. Metallics on black watercolor paper. I thought this one looked like tribbles from Star Trek. You actually love the four trees? Yeah? I want to I'd like to go through and do the same idea, but find a tree design that I really like that I'm good at reproducing and try to do it in each season. Which I mean kind of makes sense, right? Yeah. I want to get better at trees. I need to keep going back and practicing them more and more and get better making the trunks and all that in a way that makes them look realistic, right? Remember this one, the little crystal cavern one with some like glowing trees in the background? I like that one. Oh, and we hit the back of this one. There's nothing left in these. So I need to fill this one up more too. Well, I come back to it. This one is not. So this one's 9 by 12. That's good to know. I've got plenty of room in this 9 by 12, and this one's completely empty and ready to use. So I can stand to fill those up when I have something to put them. I'll put it in them. Okay, we got another 9 by 12 one, and then I think a full 11 by 14 one to go through as well. Let's look at these. Oh, this one's stiff. Yeah, I like this one. I like the green and the yellow for space for nebulas. This one's pretty cool. Oh, here's like a little spiral galaxy I was experimenting with. And another circles. Just playing with circles. Oh, I remember this one. This one's kind of like a underground kind of one. It did like a little city on the surface of the earth, and then like inside the earth, and then if you flip it, it's like there is a whole like world tree kind of thing going on the inside of the planet. A leaf surrounded by a bunch of leaf debris. Another nebula. You're going to see lots of nebulas in my life. Hopefully they'll get better as time goes on too. Here's another little quadrant of four nebula in one. Yeah, a lot of these I did on my own. I didn't paint some of these on stream. They were just fun, random. Oh, I love the blue on the top of this one. Yeah, I love that blue-green kind of color. Came out really nice. And we're Chris Goodray. Hey, welcome in. Oh, man, I just had to go to my phone because the Twitch app on the TV was so far behind, and then I realized the audio was not even matching the video. Oh, that's funny. Wah, wah. Let's blame Twitch. We always blame Twitch. Hey, Frisky Librea, welcome in. I was going to paint today, and I didn't quite feel inspired to do anything. So, like, instead of not streaming, I'll just go through some of the old stuff that I've done. This is ink, watercolor inks on mineral paper. I've got a lot of them. It is like these right here. These are some watercolor inks. They come in these little glass dropper bottles. Shake them up, and then you can see what their actual color is. It's sometimes easier to show the bottom of the jar. And they have little eyedroppers, so you can squeeze it, crack it open, take out however much you need. They're great. I've got maybe a dozen. Yeah, maybe a dozen different colors of these. They're super bright, they're super beautiful, and they flow really well on this. If you've not seen it, hold. Yeah. Nope. Here. This stuff right here. This is mineral paper or calcium carbonate. It is it's made by a few different brands, but this is the one that I'm able to actually find by Yasutomo. And you can technically use a large amount of different media on it. Take a look at the list. And you can see from their examples how things tend to look when they are done on it. And the surface of it is very different from that of watercolor paper. This is a kind of matte finish. It almost disappears completely. And there's like very little reflection, but it has almost no texture at all. It's very, very smooth. If smooth is a texture, it's smooth. But the benefit of that is when you use a lot of water on it. Hold up, let this back up. Go back in there. You too. You go back. You get in there. The benefit of that is if you put a large amount of water on a good majority of your paper, I tend to use a modeler or a wash brush, fill most of the page with a decently large amount of water. And you can use the droppers for the watercolor inks, and you put like some rows of them on the paper, and then you wet your brush and you connect the puddle of water with the lines of the inks that you put down, and they'll connect to each other and they'll bloom outward and flow and go wherever they want to go. And then you just stand back and stop doing anything and let it dry for hours. It takes hours for them to dry. And when they do, they come out kind of like this. They flow very nicely into each other, or into themselves. I'm sorry, I'm whacking the camera, so it's probably moving around a bit. But you get some really cool effects. You have a little bit of control where you can move it around, but if you do it too much, it starts getting really muddy, obviously, right? But when you get them just started, they end up having a really pretty effect. I don't think I have any more in here. We'll see. There might be more. Um, yeah, this is like a fall, like a kind of fall landscape I was working on. Let's see. What else do we have in here? It's been a minute. Oh, wow. I remember this one. This one was super cute. It's on the right. This little scenery I did. Oh, I did the little Star Trek Next Generation and Voyager comm badge with metallics. I like how that one came out. What else we have? So many awesome techniques. Thank you. I'm still a baby. I've only been doing the watercoloring for a tiny bit under 2 years now. Just constantly practicing and just trying stuff. I should be practicing more, to be fair. Interestingly enough, I started streaming specifically to make myself paint. I started out doing it 2 years ago when I was really stressed out at work, and I needed something to take my mind off of work. And I started painting. And then when things kind of simmered down, I realized I didn't have quite so much of the stress from work at that time. And so I started painting less. So I was like, I need to stream. It gives me a reason to paint at least twice a week, typically. I just need to start getting better at practicing more often, even when I'm not streaming, just so I can practice and get better at doing the same things. Oh, experiment I didn't like. I was trying to do a Aurora for the one on the left. And I wasn't quite happy with how it was coming out, but it's still kind of pretty. I like kind of how the bottom came out. Interestingly enough, the little like water reflection on the bottom came out kind of neat. I was trying to do some oranges. I didn't quite like how these came out. Uh, yeah, I didn't quite like how those came out. But again, it was all practice. All practice. Let's see what else we got. I think some of these are doubled up. Nope, not this one. All right. Uh, Another desert experiment. A lot of metallics in this one. Oh God, this is me practicing doing florals. Some were okay, some were ugh. But again, practice makes perfect. I just need to practice more. But some were really nice. Those are like lilac, I think, or lavender. And then don't ask me what some of these flower types are. They are out of my imagination uh, for the better. uh, yeah, for better or worse. And trying some rose shapes, and it's just really hard to get that down. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, cute. Well, if you ever want to body double painting somehow, let me know. I need to practice more too. Oh, I'd love to. Even if you can see how you can improve. Like you said, it's all practice. I love it all. Thank you. Oh, hon, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's all practice. I'm just, like most people or a lot of people, I'm really hard on myself. I'm sorry if it sounds like that sometimes. I try not to. I really, really, really want to practice trees more. I always go back to doing space and trees. Trees are just really neat. I want to get better at learning how to do those. They're definitely on my list. This is definitely me practicing doing trees more. I like this page. This one came out really nicely. Especially these. These remind me very much of cherry blossom trees, sakura. And then I made up a blue tree that doesn't exist in this world because where are there going to be blue trees? I wish. We need more blue plants. Oh yeah, this one was kind of neat. This one was me experimenting with different things. God, I don't know if I remember everything here. Uh this one for sure was soap, soapy water or soap bubbles. You can see some of those. The one next to it is salt. This one was, if I remember right, I think this one was mixing alcohol or painting with alcohol instead of water. So for that one, I put some of the watercolor paint to the side and use alcohol specifically in it because I didn't want to mix alcohol into my palette. So I put it separate. I didn't quite like how it came out. This was watercolor with dropping alcohol on top of it. And I think this one was plain. I think this one was no additives of any kind. And it was just interesting looking side by side. Oh, and this one reminds me of something too. When I did this one, it made me want to make bookmarks. And so I've got this one. I don't think you had a chance to see this one, Frisky. Check this out. This was going to be bookmarks. I was planning on taking these and I was going to cut them out and figure out how to seal them, like with a laminator or something of that nature, wax something to seal it. But once it was together, I liked it so much, I framed it instead. I absolutely loved how these nebula came out. These are the micro nebula. Some of them are different. This one's kind of like the surface of the sun with sunspots. That one looks like an actual nebula because I based it off one, the one in the top right. Yeah. So my goal in this one for the future is I've got just a basic like a Xerox flatbed scanner on top of my printer. And so I can scan some things in, but it messes up the color a little bit. So I need to tweak the hell out of it. And I was going to scan this, and then my goal is to get a high quality or mid high quality inkjet printer. Preferably one that uses pigment inks, but that's really hard to find and are very expensive. So I might do dye inks instead, and just use like a sealant or something on top to protect it, so they last a little bit longer than 5 years before they start fading. Hopefully, much longer than that. So my goal is, yeah, exactly. My goal is to scan it and make prints. Exactly right. The goal really would be to scan it, and the printer I was looking at is capable of printing A3 size paper, which is what this is. This particular one is A3 paper, which is like 13 by 17 inches, I think, if I'm not mistaken, give or take, and print out on watercolor paper, which I found out you can absolutely do with the right printer. You can print on like 300 DSM or 140-pound watercolor paper, so it will have the exact same texture as the original, which I love. But it takes a particular type of printer, and obviously it's got to be a mostly straight, even path to the printer. You know this. Clearly, some things are not meant to be bent going through a printer because it will jam, right? So getting a particular printer type that's good at having a more direct path through the printer, and a very wide one for larger paper sizes, you can print on watercolor paper. You usually have to seal it, much like you would watercolor paper that's not going to be behind a UV protective frame or glass or anything. So you can put sealants, the spray on sealants, waxes, things like that on it. But my goal was to do, like I mentioned, I want to scan it, print it on watercolor paper, put it in like a, cut them out and put them in laminating sheets and send them to a laminator and cut them to size. Get one of those little, they have those paper cutters that do rounded or different shaped edges. So I want to get the one that does that nice, like 90-degree rounded kind of beveled edge or corner to trim the corners of the bookmarks. And I think these would be beautiful bookmarks. So having made this and having one full sheet like this, it makes me want to do more of them. Maybe there'll be planets, like Earth, like textures or gas giant textures. Maybe there'll be more nebula. Maybe it'll be nature. Like it could be anything, and just have like a series of things that are all the same quantity and sizes. I think they look really cool next to each other on them all. Right. Enough yammering about that one. So let me put this up without knocking everything over. Three. Eh, eh. All right. Go. No. Go here. Yeah, it'll be fine. All right. Um. Oh, this one was just like, thank you. Yeah, I think they'll come out really cool. For now, everything's sitting in the bin, and they'll just be there for the future if I get around to doing something like that and make bookmarks. I mean, they'll be gifts or something. We'll come back to them. This was done same time I did this one, I think. This was an experiment with doing all of the different techniques, soap bubbles, salt, alcohol in one. And I was just kind of playing with it to see what it looked like. I like how the soap one came out in the top right where it's purple or violet. I love how that came out. I want to do that again for space for a nebula. I think that will look really cool, full page. So I'm going to do that again at some point. What else do we have in this one? This one's almost done. I think we're on the last page. Yeah. Oh yeah, this one was fun. This was doing just bubbles. And then I think I have forgotten. I think I had the tape down in random shapes and I filled in inside. Yeah, inside each of these triangle polygons, whatever you want to call it. And then I peeled all the tape off and then I painted over the top of them a different layer. And then I used I've got a bunch of these different shapes and sizes of these Winsor& and Newton markers of different widths. And they're indelible ink. So they can go on or under watercolor and you can paint right on them and it won't bleed. Yeah, they're really nice. They're actually not very expensive. They're actual Winsor& Newton brand. So they made them and formulated them specifically. Focus. There we go. They formulated them specifically so that they would be indelible. So you can get them wet after you put them down, let them dry for a few minutes, and you can paint right over them. So they work really well for that. This was a 0.5. Put that back. This one is 0.8. And then I've got a 1.0 over here as well. And then a couple of the smaller ones. That's the last of this one. Let's do this last one. Oh, look at the bird. Okay. Sorry, that was very loud. Very heavy. Goddess. Man, I'm so glad you did this show and tell. Well, thank you. It turned out that the day of not feeling like painting turned into a good reason to go through all of these old ones over the last 2 years of my life. And Frisky, I love that. I'll have to look up those for sure. Yeah, they're actually super affordable by comparison. And I've had them for a couple of years. My other half got a set as well because he was sharing from mine. And I was like, let's get you your own set, and not because I don't want to share, it's just because they'll eventually run out. And I had already kind of damaged my 1.0. It's thicker than it should be because I bore down too hard. I was too heavy handed with it, and I slightly widened the tip by accident when I did that. And so it's not exactly the same size. You can kind of see where it's kind of marred, where I pushed down a little bit too hard. It didn't take much. So all I would say, if you do get these, be gentle with how heavy handed you are and pressing down on your paper, so you don't bend the tip like I did on this one. His are in great shape because he did not do what I did. So just keep that in mind. Get over there. Let's see. Yeah, absolutely. We get into some of the beautiful, beautiful ink on mineral papers. This is by far I think my second favorite uh, ink on mineral papers that I did. I'm very, very, very happy with how this one came out. The colors in this are gorgeous. The blue is just so vibrant. It's just it flows so beautifully. This paper is great. If you ever get the opportunity, please check out mineral paper. Uh, Mineral paper is great, and the watercolor inks are just they're so flowy. They're just gorgeous. I absolutely love how they work. Let's see what else we got. Yep. A random experiment that I thought was garbage, and the longer it sits here, and every time I come back and see it, I like it more and more. It was a complete experiment. It was just random BS. It could be anything, whatever you want it to be. It looks like upside down mountains on that side. It looks like a city. It could be anything. It's like a city on one side and like a forest with mountains on the other. So it could be like a upside down, right side up situation, right? This is literally mountains and trees, and it's like buildings on the other side. So it's like post-industrial once they've destroyed nature is what it looks like afterward. All right. What else we got? Same thing here. I just did a blend of like the rainbow colors in the middle, and I blended them with the water on each side just to see what they did. It didn't flow incredibly well, but that was me. It just didn't quite work, but it's still fun. And I kept it, and I added some silver. I've got a silver ink in the mix as well, so I added some of that. What else we got here? That's too many pages. There's one. Oh, there's another favorite, another one that I liked. This guy right here. Blues, greens, all the pretty colors. And this one is also kind of all over the place. What else we've got? Oh, I like this one too. And this one's very pink. A lot of pinks. And this one. I usually work with acrylic when it comes to painting, but I wonder if when I add a lot of water, would I have similar results to watercolor on that paper. It might. It might. I've never used acrylics because they terrify me. And that's so interesting to consider because I have never done anything truly artistic until 2 years ago to now. Aside from when I was a kid, there was a gigantic gap in there where I did not do anything really truly creative. I always wanted to. Um, and it's weird. I say it's weird because when I started doing any kind of artistic stuff with watercolor. And every time I talk with or hear from anyone who has done any other kind of media before watercolor, they say watercolor is one of the hardest things to do, which amazes me. And I think the reason for that is because it's like the only medium that works in the reverse of how you'd expect, right? Because it needs to be lighter and more transparent to begin with, and you put more layers on top of it to darken it, make it look better. Whereas with nearly everything else, you kind of cover up your mistakes, right? Or you go from dark to light. And in this case, for most watercolor, you go from light to dark. It's totally backwards thinking. Apparently, people have to just change the brain and how they do things. Um, I'm sure with acrylic, you can thin it out. In between acrylic and watercolor is gouache, which I have not yet ever used. Um, I think gouache probably would work more similarly to watercolor because it's almost exactly watercolor. It's just more opaque, right? So I think it would function closer to watercolor than acrylic. But that's just a best guess because I've never used acrylic. It might thin out and work incredibly well. I think I have read that you can use acrylic to a degree and thin it out a lot and use it like watercolor. But I think the difference is that I don't think you can reactivate acrylic. So anything you do is a bit more permanent, I imagine. I don't know. You might know more than me scratch that. You will know more than me. I don't know how well acrylic reactivates. I don't think it does. And the only reason I say that is because uh, this. So this is the cup I use when I am doing stars uh, for my space. Hang on. Nope, that's ink. Am I an idiot? Oh no, that's right. Okay, so I have two different whites in the bottles here. This one is a watercolor, Chinese white. This one is acrylic. And yes, they make acrylic ink. So this is what I use in here. And even though it's very much liquid in this state, once it dries in here, it does not reactivate. So just keep that in mind. I don't know how full, proper from the tube or from the canister acrylic thicker paint handles when you thin it down a lot. But in this respect, my only true experience with acrylic is from acrylic ink. It does not reactivate. The watercolor inks do reactivate. So those I've had in separate like ceramic plates that I've got, and I have added water back to them, and they reactivate beautifully. But the acrylic ink does not, for certain. But again, this may be just unique to acrylic ink. So experiment at your own risk. I would say acrylic is probably one of those one and done kind of deals. I would assume you can't um, change it once it dries. Whereas you got a little bit of wiggle room to correct mistakes with watercolor. But the benefit being with acrylic, you can just cover it up, right? So I would totally experiment and see how it behaves on something you don't care about, and then just screw around, right? Have fun with it. Yeah, I'll have to play around with it, but yeah, you're correct that acrylic dries quickly, and I can only keep it as a liquid as I can with an additive and adding water gently over time. Excuse me, 1 second. I didn't want to keep coughing in your ear if I could help it. Um, Leave this out. I have this too that I've not used a lot of because it was super thick, and I think I have to thin it before I use it for stars again. But I also have this. I had a little extra in case I wanted to do stars because I knew that acrylic ink was going to run out someday. So I've got this. So I can always put a little bit of it and add some water to thin it so that I can use it for stars. Otherwise, it's just too thick. But it is, it's immensely thick on its own. Sorry, you probably don't want to see that like that, but it's a really, really, really thick paint. I'm not used to it, but if I take a little bit of this and mix it with a decent amount of water, I can get it as thin as that acrylic ink white that I use for stars, and it works great for that. Also, a benefit being I can technically add colors to this from my watercolor ink, and it blends with it as well. So if I want to have stars that are slightly off shade, this works really well for that. Oh, I haven't used it yet, but I was talking about protectants earlier or sealant. I have this. I have not yet used it. I got some over Christmas when I got my current paint set from Daniel Smith. So when the time comes and I want to protect any watercolor without putting it in a frame, I will put some of this on it and see how that goes. That's more like the type of stuff I have. Definitely thicker straight out of the tube, but a little goes a long way. Yeah, I believe it. I did not use much of this when I first tried using it, and it lasted the entire session. And I had gobs left. I only squeezed out like a pea-sized amount of it. Like it long lasting, or at least a higher quantity of it than I would expect. Let's see. What else we have here we can go through? Oh no, is that the end after this? Yep. Oh, I got a couple, but nope, just that one. Yeah, we're done with this one. Random little landscape I tried to do. And the last ink on mineral paper that I've got using a lot of metallics. I think I added copper for my watercolor set on top of this, along with silver. So it's a little bit reflective. Yeah. Do you desire? Well, that's the last of that. Uh, I think you joined a little late. This is one of the ones I had Frisky too that I showed everyone else earlier that I did by now, probably a year ago. But I had this idea from my dad from a long time ago that I saw that he had doodled and made a bunch of like little floating cities. So I took that idea and made a couple floating little islands myself with stuff on it. Yeah, it's adorable. Thank you. Yeah, I like this one. It's super cute, super cartoony, has a great vibe to it. I really like the idea of this. I can see if someone hasn't done this already, which I'm sure someone has, having these little worlds on little floating islands. It's very Jetsons in a way. Very much like it. Especially the little antenna on the bottom, keeping them afloat is very Jetsons inspired. All right. And this I did Thursday. I was playing around with my new Daniel Smith paints that I've got over here to the side, and I was making little bricks and just kind of playing with colors and seeing how everything blended, and it came out really nicely. Especially like this long blue, phthalo blue to like a sandy color, and it made me think of the ocean. So I might experiment with those more in the future. Try to actually do like a beach scene or something. Some of them are just gorgeous. Some of these greens are just beautiful. And that's lunar black right there, that heavily granulating one right there in the middle. Super pretty. Yeah, so pretty. I love these. It's so much fun. I love this. It's so colorful. I love it. Let me move some of this to the side for now. I'll put them up later. Oh my goodness. So heavy. Oh, oh God. You come with me. Go over here. All right. You go over here. Oh my goodness. Stay there. Oh, that's funny. This I forget what this was. Is this colored pencil or crayon? I don't remember. I think this is colored pencil. Yeah, I think this is colored pencil I was experimenting with and did like a little tiny Starship Voyager in the middle. Which is, and this was years ago too. We came across this the other day. Let's see. I love playing with all the different colors and blending things to see how they interact. Even just seeing someone else do it is fun. Oh, that's great. I love it. It's so much fun. I love watercolor. It's so neat. It's very me. It's very loose and abstract. I love the abstract nature of it. I just have to get better at controlling the abstract. And then I guess I'm really good at letting go and letting it really do what it wants to do. Um, yeah, I got a lot over here. And that's just that stack. I got stuff sitting over here that's just a gigantic pile of stuff that may or may not be good. Let's go grab that. Here we go. Uh, do I paint too much? I don't think I paint enough. This is also on mineral paper, but is watercolor, regular watercolor. Goddess remembers this one. I was trying again, somewhat unsuccessfully, but maybe successfully, your decision, to do Aurora. But this time I tried doing it on mineral paper to see how my regular watercolor would work, brushing it on. Most of my mineral paper stuff was like I was talking about, where I just put dropperfuls of the ink on there and then connected it with water and let it flow on its own. This was more intentional, actually using a brush, trying to play around and see how it worked, just to see what it would do. Just playing around. It has good and bad points. With watercolor, it doesn't really let you put something on there specific unless it is like thick, like buttery. Um, Unless you use like a really fine tipped brush, it spreads on its own. Um, like down here, for example, the reflection in the water that's supposed to be down there. It just spreads. So it's very difficult to be intentional on the mineral paper with watercolor, but you can make it work. I think, especially like a lot of this, I think almost everything I do looks great when you look at it from a couple feet away. Right? Like everything looks great when you look at it from a distance. Everything looks beautiful from a distance. When you get close, though, it's like, oh, oh, I see what they were trying to do. No, like, yeah, what's with that? So my goal was to make like a little road over on the right side here, going to this little city with like a lake or something at it. And this was supposed to be like a stream leading to that area as well. And it was supposed to be like a little tiny town down there, at the base of it. But yeah. Let me put this one up. All right. Look at this pile of mess here. This and this were fun. One second. I had to clear my throat and grab some coffee. Ah, good stuff. All right. These guys. Clearly, you can see a difference here. Uh, these, oh, I think still looks great up close, just more impressionistic, perhaps. I will accept it. Sometimes I think, sometimes I think some of the terminology was used just to make a painter feel better about their work, right? Like, but seriously though, people that I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of great painters that came before us in the past, and I am like 0.5% of what they are, if that. But I am happy with how things are going. These were an experiment. This one I did not do on stream. This one I did. You'll notice that they are borderless. There's no edge taped up like I do for most of what I've done. And the reason for that is because I saw some technique where they fully wet the back of the paper and then wet the front and put it down on a non-porous flat surface, right? So I could put it on my silicone mat back here, or what I did is I put it on my clipboard because it's like a painted particle board. So it's totally smooth, right? So what that did is allowed the under surface that was wet to suction the paper to the surface. And the whole time I was working on the top part of it, it was completely stuck to the surface underneath it, which kept it flat. When you paint with watercolor on paper and you go, especially toward the edges or any of the surface area, it gets very wet, it'll start to curl or buckle, especially on thinner paper. Um, and so that's a real problem when you want to do nebula, like I like to do nebula scenes or full edge to edge scenes. So for the most part, I have to tape things down fully on the edges to hold the paper flat the whole time. So this was an experiment, and this one too, to see what happened if I put the water on both sides. The next thing I'll try with that is fully wetting the paper, like immersing the paper in water and letting it soak for a very short period of time, then patting it dry. Well, not dry, but patting all the loose water off of it and then sticking it down. That way it really saturates the paper. That's next. But that was so cool. It was such a neat idea, wetting it on both sides. And I love the colors on this one. the pinkish colors, that's opera pink, and then a red color, I think a crimson something, and then some yellows. They came out really pretty. They look kind of like cotton candy clouds, right? But I noticed that this was drying pretty quickly around the edges, and that's why the indigo that I put around the edges dried faster than the ones that were in the middle between the clouds. So on this one that I did do on stream, I more heavily wet the top layer so that I could get more blurry, blendy colors out of the surface of it. And I like how that one came out too. I'm keeping it like this for now, but the goal is to maybe come back to this in the future or this one to try to modify them or correct them or add more to them, right? Uh, Interestingly enough, I noticed after the fact, the surface on this one, it feels like the paper maybe swelled a little bit and didn't quite retract back down. Um, it's got kind of a fuzzy feel to it compared to the rest of my paper. So I'm wondering if maybe doing the full wetting it down and letting it sit to dry overnight, maybe it makes the paper start to kind of swell back the way it was when it was being made before they dried it and pressed it, is what my guess is on that. Why it feels like that. I was practicing with my new watercolor sets, the Daniel Smiths, to make some color wheels using the primaries that I've got. So that was me practicing with some cool and warm primaries to see how the color wheel might come out. This was me experimenting with, I think, granulation. I don't quite remember. I think I might have been just trying to blend some blues and yellows together to see how they reacted. These new Granule Smith paints, though, they granulate like nobody's business, some of them, and I love that. It's so pretty. And it's just more experimenting. I love that contact right there between the, I think it's like Hansa Yellow Deep on top. And I don't remember what was on the bottom. I think it was, I think it was my, well, no, I think that was indigo. Yeah, I think that's indigo down there. I love how they bleed into each other like that, make those little tendrils. So cool. More of the same. This was, I think I was just experimenting with doing some nebula that day. This is with the Daniel Smith paints as well. I love how this top right one came out. I love all the little tendrils in that. None of my other paints I've ever used have done that like this paint does. So Daniel Smith for the win. There. That one's kind of neat too. That one had a lot of salt on it. Yeah. Experimenting with stuff. Oh, this one I've not come back to, Goddess. This was the one that did random shapes and I was going to draw in little faces. And I did not come back to it yet. So that can go with my brick one from Thursday to come back to draw things on. Just a lot of experiments with random shapes. I'll put that to the side to remember to do that later. We're not going to talk about this one. It's just a mess. Oh, this is fun. This is a stack of ones that I had set to the side that was going to be for greeting cards, if I remember right. Are these all? Yeah. So we can go through these in a speed run. Obviously, some ornaments. I love how these came out. They came out very good. I'm happy with those and proud of those. Thank you. This was actually a part, the rest are probably in here somewhere, but I did like a larger page that I cut into pieces to make greeting card shapes. So this was going to be like a random greeting card, like a full page, random full art thing. So that was pretty cool looking. Had some really pretty colors in it. Some lightning. I like how those came out. And some more lightning. I really like this lightning. This one came out really cool. Thank you. Yeah, I am super proud of these. These came out super cool. This one I used, I have it over here. I'm gonna try not to knock over my water. There we go. I've got some masking fluid. And so the purple pink lightning, I use masking fluid to do some of the lines, the thicker ones on the top in the middle. You can kind of see where it was, but the thicker lines we're using masking fluid. And I apply that using, I've got a bunch of them over here, but this is just one for an example. Some silicone tipped, uh, they're sculpting tools. They're actually for sculpting. So it's like silicone rubber tip. And there's a bunch of them over here, a variety of different sizes and shapes. Um, the other set that I've got next to it are a little smaller, but they also have a benefit of having some metal nubs on the other end. And I needed these because for a little while I was using some of my very cheap watercolor brushes to use with the masking fluid. And newsflash, you cannot clean masking fluid once it dries out of brushes. So do not ruin your brushes. I intentionally used brushes that were the cheapest ones I had just for those, and it was still a nightmare to use. And it made them not able to be used again because they were gunked up. These are great because the rubber, um, when the masking fluid dries, it just comes right off of the silicone rubber, and I can reuse those again and again. So they're great for that. So look up sculpting brushes or sculpting tools, and look for the silicone tipped ones. Apparently they use for sculpting clay. So great tool. Oh, this one was great too. I remember this one was great. We did it before Christmas. I did the little Starship Voyager, and I taped up a triangle and turned it into a little nebula tree, and then drew in the little spiral going around it like a garland, being the little trail of the ship going up and around above it. I thought that was super cute. From our Clarkton to yours. Very happy with that one. That one came out really well. Oh, those ornaments. Did you not see the ornaments when they first came out? When I first did that one? Yeah, I need to do more of those. Those are super good. We can do ornaments. I'm sorry, ornaments. We can do greeting cards all year round, and then I'll have a stockpile at the end of the year. So maybe we can start that early and come back to it. Yeah, you totally purchased that. Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I think it's a great idea, and we can do like this one in particular. We can do all kinds of shapes and designs, and just do a fake like the silhouette of a Christmas tree without having to fight with making branches and doing the shadows and all that. And they can just be designs in the same shape as a tree, and it works perfectly. I think that's great. Oh, here's more of the one that I cut up, the one that I cut up into four. It's from the same sequence. This one too. I like how that one came out. It could be a horizontal card if you want it to be, because it looks pretty good like that. Oh, this was an experiment too, and the one underneath it to do the same triangle idea. And when I taped it down, I didn't tape it down well enough, and some of the paint leaked. And I learned my lesson from that on the next one I tried. Um, and I tried my best not to paint over the top of the area that I masked off, so I wouldn't have any accidental leakage getting into the underside of it. So that worked out really well. This one ended up looking kind of like a portal. So that was kind of neat. And I like how this one came out too. Here's the last of that four-way clip out one that I cut into four pieces. Also like how that one came out. The texture of that one's really cool. This is from me. Oh, and here's another one. I forgot it was off to the side. Another Voyager one that I did. Exactly, portal triangle of the woods. Yeah, it totally worked incredibly well as that. Here's another Voyager one I did. Like half of Voyager silhouette up against some space background. I like how that one came out. Um, this was me along with the one behind her we'll look at in a second, experimenting with learning how to paint water. Or experimenting with that. This one, little guy. And I think that's all of the greeting card sized ones. And put them over here. Here's the big one that I'm really proud of practicing doing water. Show the dragons again? Yeah, I'll grab that. It's on the bottom stack. I'll have to dig, but that way Frisky can see it. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm holding it too high up. Yeah. I'm very happy with how that one came out. I want to do it again. One, just for practice, and two, because I want to put something in it. I want to get like a ghost ship or like a fishing trawler or something in the background. I think that'd be really cool on this. But I don't want to mess up this one. So I'll keep this one just as a proof of I've done it before. And then I'll come back to it and we'll do another one. But this one was neat. Doing the white on top of the waves, I did with a X-Acto blade. After painting all of them, I went when it dried, I went back over it with an X-Acto blade, held at an angle, and I scraped some of the paint away to get back down to the raw paper underneath to make it white again. And that was an interesting way of doing it. The misty storming over water vibe in the large version, so chic, such a good. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I love the it just feels like I don't know, it's got that like ghost ship. Like I said it. It's got that ghost oceany looking out into nothingness, looking to the mists, you know. Such a cool feel to it. And that one too. Yeah. Super happy with these. I like these. Let me find the dragon one again. Oh Lord. I can do this. Good. Okay. It's in this. Was it in this one? No, it was in this one. I think. Maybe? No. No. I think the dragon was normal sized. It wasn't the big ones. I'm sorry. Was it in this one? I don't remember. No, I think it was in the other one. Yeah. I think it was in the other one. Let's check this really quick. Yeah, no, it was in the other one. Yeah, I think it's in this one. Yeah, they're in here. Showed this earlier. BRB? No, no problem. Strawberries. Here they are. I'll leave them out. We'll come back to it when Frisbee's back. Okay. More playing. Well, I like this one better. This one was more experimenting with just doing random shapes and nebula. I realized after doing it, I don't quite like using the full width tape across the middle of the page. It just feels like wasted space. I'm sure it has a purpose sometimes though. Did that one, put a little tiny starship in there. Little guy. Yes. Let me put this over here and we'll show Chrissy when she gets back. Put this over here. And this one right here, I actually like this one way better than this other one. Love how this one came out. This one's great. I think this one's frameable. I think that one will work really well in a frame. Very happy with how that one came out. That was salt in the corner, but it made it look kind of like asteroids or meteors or something. Asteroids. Another Star Trek ship. Just random. Yep. I very much like this one. Let's see. This one's just space. Random space stuff. Ooh, remember this one? This was that day when I was going through Instagram and finding some stuff that we liked and then replicated them. At least to some degree. So we did some glazing, doing some layers and doing a layer, drawing it, putting more on it. Practicing some florals, some simple ones, right? Practice making a little jar. This one was doing water drops and then putting the paint into the water drop and letting it dry. So just leaving a little bead of clear water and then just dipping the brush in with a little bit of pigment just to see what it do. A little scene with some mountains. Some little cubey brick things, a little abstract. An attempt at clouds that I wasn't proud of on this one, but they're there. And then a little fall tree, which I like how this one came out. That one came out really cute. I was very happy with that one. And putting the random dots around it gave it a look like leaves were flying around. I was very happy with that one. Right? Excuse me. Oh yeah, all this yammering has got my throat getting all bleh. Drink some coffee. There we go. This one was neat. Aside from the stars on top, this was entirely Payne's Gray. So this was just experimenting, and then some white and some black, for some white and black kind of positive and negative effect of stars. So like this side is space, and if you used a camera with like a reverse image thing, so that the lights became dark and the darks became light, this would look more like space. But on this side, it's more like space. So they kind of would reverse each other. Right? And that one, the big boy. It's one of the biggest ones over here. I love all the different images in the series one that had Ada. Yeah, this one was really cool. This one was really fun. Put that over here. This was experimenting with making snowflakes, or trying to. Put that over here. This one, remember this one got us? This was my attempt at doing the forest from the top down, and I ended up not liking it, and I just kind of filled the space in above and below it, and it ended up looking kind of cool. So I'm not quite sure what it is. It might look better like this, or maybe it looks better like this. Like this, it looks kind of like a path, and it looks like it could be like a beam of light going across the surface of a forest that's like dark or something. I don't know. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, it was really interesting how it came out. Yeah. Oh, Halloween. Practicing some fun Halloween shapes using a black, uh, the black watercolor paper again, and some reflective or pearlescent, not pearlescent. What's the word I'm looking for? Iridescent? Yeah, iridescent paint. There we go, I think. Yeah, some of these came out kind of cute. Very reflective. You can see clearly. And more experimentation with just random, just playing with it to see how it flowed. Similar, just all over the place, just full page random stuff. Ooh, I like how this one came out too. This was a nice mountain scene. Oh, this one was okay. I don't think I quite liked how this came out. I think it was just an experiment. I was just trying stuff. It was okay. It needs more love. It needs more attention. It might be one to come back to that I can recover it when I know more. So that's one to hold on to. Random testing stuff. Of course, more trees. This was like a day that I was doing fall stuff, and I was experimenting with doing different fall trees. I ended up doing another leaf, and then some gourds down the bottom, pumpkin, squashes, things like that. I particularly liked how that one actually came out. It was really cute. More random experimenting that didn't pan out to anything. Oh, the one that had the weird It's just a random day of BS. I don't know what this one turned out to be, but it looks like a Medusa up on top. Medusa head and then some random rainbow something. Put that one over here. Wow, this one, I was so unhappy with this one, I left a tape on it. That's rough right there. I absolutely did. I was so unhappy with how this was coming out. I left the tape on and took it off and just moved on with life. It's still on there. That's fun. That's all the story. I'll leave that on like that. That's great. Another random whatever. I don't even know what the deal is with this. It's got masking fluid on it. I don't understand that. That's weird. Uh, this one was the beginning of something turned into like a rainbow plaid kind of looking thing. Um, Original tests with water turned out to look a bit more like holes on the surface of a bright surface. Same with this. But that was from the same day of water testing. I was just like that one. Again, looks good at a distance. Doesn't look quite so good up close. Hmm. This is the one I did when we went out to the park one day, and I brought my paint set with me and did a little outdoors painting of what was in front of me. We're at the, I think, Lake Sammamish State Park. Below that reflection. Thank you. And this one? Yeah, came out pretty good. So I can show you the dragon now. Let me split some stuff out of the way. Over here, dragons. These were done experimenting using soap bubbles and the watercolor inks from the jars I showed earlier, and then putting plastic wrap on top of it, letting it dry overnight. But this dragon, take a look at the beautiful texture. Get on the scales for that. That all came from soap bubbles and watercolor inks, including silver watercolor ink. Like that right there. How gorgeous that came out. But interesting enough, there's another situation where my masking tape failed me, or I failed my masking tape. I assumed wrongly that by masking something off, you can paint over it, and you can't to a degree. You can paint over the edge where the edge touches the paper, but where the tape covers tape, if you paint over that seam, it likes to seep in between the layers and then touch the paper underneath. So all of these little lightning bolts you see here, I ended up keeping, obviously, because I couldn't get rid of them. But I let that be a part of the scene a little bit, and it's like a lightning dragon, right? So it made it look like it was intentional, unless you knew that it was a mistake. These look like they were meant to be there, in a way. And I gave him little red claws too. And then this one over here is my green dragon. Same thing. But with, I think I did salt on that one, so that's why it looks like he's got a bunch of gunshots on him. It came out pretty cool as well. Yeah. I really like how that one came out. The Chinese dragon on the left. Very happy with that. Was there anything else worth showing in this one on my ships to the desert that I did when I was a kid and I recreated it? Camels with sails, ships in the desert. But yeah, it's super cute. I don't think. Whoa, my stack is getting so tall that stuff was sliding away. Come back here. I'm gonna have to put those up in the drawer that I took them from in a minute. Yeah, I think you're pretty well caught up. Also from the same day. Oh, you missed this too. This was a day that I went through. Yep, she saw the Sky Islands. Yeah. This was a day that I was going through Instagram on stream, And when we saw something we liked, I tried replicating it. So glazing, some flowers, a little glass jar. These were water drops that were clear that I added pigment to and let them dry on their own. So they really just turned into circles with some hard edges around them, outer edge of them. A little landscape scene of mountains, some cubes, rectangles, oblongs, a really bad attempt at some clouds, and then a nice fall tree that I really am proud of. I really like how that one came out. So that was nice. Everything. This one I kept back here as well. This one was a nice collage of nebula, kind of like my bookmarks one, but in interesting triangular shapes with a little starship Voyager in the corner. I like how that one came out. Let's see, you can come up with here. Let's see. This is from the same day of practicing water. I like how that one came out too. All right. Playing with different colors here. This was Prussian blue, French ultramarine, and Payne's gray. Just playing with the colors. Oh, this was me spending a day playing with clouds. Just experimenting with how they would work. That one was kind of interesting, putting some pinks in there. Okay. Yeah, here. All right. More nebula experiments. Oh, I think these were the reject greeting cards. Let me see. This is an attempt at a tree that just did not work. Oh, this was an experiment to do just more glazing technique. Putting a rectangle down, letting it dry, adding more, and then I just drew a little pear because it had a really good pear color to it. That was a fun practice, drawing whatever you see online, and the shapes are great. Thank you. I You're such a good cheerleader. Thank you. You guys are always such great cheerleaders. Oh, this one was fun. This one, I know I used the dread chat GPT that people don't like, some of them. But I am both for and against it. In some ways, mostly for, against in very specific ways that are harmful to people, and then other ways that are fun and experimental. This was a request to ChatGPT saying, "Can you make me a random starship in the style of Star Trek?" And I printed it and painted it in. That actually looks kind of Star Trek like, so I went with it. Let's see. Random planets. Just did some random planets. Oh, this is not painted at all. This was ChatGPT making some bear characters for me because I needed them. So I was just letting it experiment to see what it would make. Little Star Trek watercoloring bears. Through those. This is just random mess. Let's see. Just random. No real rhyme or reason. Just random stuff. Also random. Also random. That's so random. Now we're getting to some old stuff here. I was experimenting with my color options to do different Star Trek like engines. The little engine, the blue glow that you see coming out of their starship engines. Trying to replicate some of that. More experiments with trees and colors. My original color wheel that I made with my first set of paints. Oh yeah, we're starting to get into some real random tests and just filling up cheap paper with cheap paints and trying stuff. It's a lot of my first playing arounds that I did. Yep, just even more of them. I get in my hand. Yep, even more. I really started with trees early on. Yep, more experiments. I think this whole stack of sections right here was just experimenting with stuff. And my first swatches. Experimenting with the sky islands that I did. And I was showing the thickness of those. This is a good way to show you, Frisky, the Winsor & Newton black pens of the 5 different sizes I've got. This is what they look like. So you can see how thin they are. Oh, ha. You'll appreciate this. This was me experimenting with some geeky stuff. I tried doing a little computer monitor, but it was way too like weirdly shaped. And then I did a little Windows desktop, like Windows 95. I thought that was funny. I wanted to do more computer-based things. I really had the thought of going through and like every main like Windows or Mac desktop or well-known background for different versions. I might do some of those. I don't know. It's something to revisit the idea of. More mineral paper because this is actually out of a low portfolio. I can show you more closely what it looks like. And it's very flippy. Like it's very thin. I don't want to say flimsy. And it's kind of flimsy in a way. It's very thin paper, but very dense in that it allows no water through it. It's completely non-permeable. Yes. And then like where it was very thin, it's smooth. And then if I was very heavy with the paint, you can feel the texture from where it starts to kind of bubble up a little bit. Excuse me. Here's another, same idea. Mineral paper. Oops. That one too, I wasn't happy with how that one came out. Sometimes it just does not work for me. Ditto. More mineral paper. This one I like. This one I like how that one came out. Oh, this is fun. If you've ever read any of the Xanth book series from Pierce Anthony, I asked ChatGPT to create me an image from that world or something that would be from that fantasy world, and I just played with painting it in. That's all that was. Let's see, more mineral paper. Mm. Well, this was an attempt at trying to make a little warp core that didn't quite work out. This one was kind of fun. It's the last one too. This one was on the biggest paper I have. It's 15 by 20 inches. Ridiculous. I just did like random colors and whatnot and did a little paper cutout of Voyager, put it on top of this, and then painted over it and then peeled that off so that it would leave a little silhouette of the ship behind. And then some like lines going, like showing it's a warp taking off. Which I may reproduce this on a background I care more about. This was like total randomness that didn't really look even like it was a fake nebula. It was just colors. So I'll try it again on a more deliberate scene. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. There's obviously some side stuff that I've given away that I have pictures of, but I don't actually have the originals. And then there's some stuff on my walls too, that I don't feel like going and taking down. So if you like, feel free if you haven't yet to check out my Instagram. Plug for the people here I know and plug for people that might come across it later. Please check out my Instagram, barely_watercoloring, same as my Twitch handle. And the link to it is below as well. Everything I do for the most part, I take a picture of and I put there good, bad, whatever, for the most part. So anything I've given away is also there as well, all the way back to the beginning when I first started painting. So feel free to check it out, see all the stuff that I've done. But aside from that, I think I'm going to start packing up some of this stuff and putting it up. And I'm going to head out. I somehow managed to take a day where I didn't feel like painting and didn't feel like doing anything. And I'm like, screw it. Let's just show off all the old stuff. I ended up taking up the time nicely. I'm very happy with it. I've got a nice solid 2 hours out of it. So with that, guys, I'm going to head on out. I would like to thank all you guys for hanging out with me. There's one I did earlier that was all painted gray. I like how that one came out, aside from the black and white on top of it. But yeah, I'm going to head on out. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will be back on Thursday. I'll probably do what I plan to do today. I want to do something with rose petals. So I'm going to figure that out. You've seen today how my floral stuff comes out. It's sometimes good, sometimes not. So hopefully Thursday will be more on the good side, because I'm going to come back to the drawing board and try to plan it out a little bit better. I came into it today thinking about it pretty much all day long, trying to come up with a plan for what I want to do, and I didn't really implement it before stream like I should have, and I ran out of steam. I was just like, ugh, whatever. I don't feel like messing with it today. I'll try to come back to it Thursday. If not, I'll do something else. So, guys, thank you again. I will be back Thursday again at 4 Pacific time. And no matter what, if I am not painting, I'll be doing something, probably playing a game. We'll see. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your week. See you Thursday. This has been Bear. I have definitely been barely watercoloring, but I've been showing off my watercoloring, so you get to at least see something today. All right, guys. Have a great night. I'll see y'all later. Bye. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.